Hey guys, Video Psych here. Now, I will of course comment, that was like a terrible, terrible thumbnail. Oh my god. I'd say at least 9 out of 10 of my thumbnails are just terrible. Even if the ones that aren't terrible are just, I don't know, maybe okay at best. But moving on from that, I wanted to talk a little bit about, what I learned from Love Dolls About Society and Idolators. Of course, a little while ago I talked about how I used to do a lot of experiments. I did a lot of social experiments in the past with, love dolls and the love doll lifestyle, idolater lifestyle, I guess I would call it. And of course, there's also, technosexuals that would probably be into something like this. Now, for the people that don't know what an idolater or technosexual is, an idolater is somebody that basically has some kind of dedicated relation with a doll, or usually love dolls from manufacturers. And somebody that's technosexual is somebody that I would say is kind of into cybernetic organisms or even stuff like love dolls. And the thing that tends to attract them to stuff like that is like, they tend to like things like upgrades and stuff. They like the things that are modified, and they tend to not go out like almost at all. I've only talked to like maybe one or two technosexuals in my lifetime over the internet, and they've even remarked to me about how they like almost never go out. It's basically like it's basically like an introverted person, but like 2.0, basically. But moving on from that, I swear that shit really needs to go down. I swear, but and another person, of course, like myself, like I'm an introvert. And some of you might think I'm a bit talkative for an introvert, but I mean, it's not like introverts don't talk. It's just that, when we tend to not like really going out much, and, socializing a lot, our social batteries just get drained. And so, somebody that is introverted like myself, it might be good sometimes to get a love doll, maybe in some cases, kind of like mine, where, I kind of looked around. I even looked around the local bar and stuff, and I didn't really care for what I was seeing as far as women. And not that they were all bad, of course. It's just that sometimes I just wasn't really interested. Not, I didn't think that there was something wrong with some of the women I met. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just not interested. Our lifestyles are very different. Our ideals are very different. And so on. Of course, judge it, but here's just a comment that I saw 2 days ago. And I'm not trying to, of course, right fight this person in any way. But, one thing that I do tend to note to people is that this is not a hater channel. And I understand that people need to vent. And I'm actually okay with that. I'm not offended by what this guy said or anything. In fact, just in case you're a hater. I think this guy's a hater at the very least, but hear what he says here. I ordered a love doll now too. I think real chicks are outdated, to say the least. And yeah, of course he says to say the least because I say the least a lot. I still sometimes do, but I told him marriage and dating will, because some men don't like women doesn't mean nature will get rid of them. And I've said this at least a few times on my channel and some of my videos. I'm gonna delete that here. Man, that shit will not go down. But for the most part, I always think it's funny how, or should I say ironic in this case, how, people come to entertainment events. And the reason why is because, and this is kind of, I guess I would say something I learned from my channel for a bit, is that people feel very comfortable when it comes to the internet because you aren't really, in a sense, interacting with people, or you are interacting with them, but just not in a way that's verbal and feeling the moments. And that's the thing. That's part of the reason why people like the internet so much, and gaming talking to people over the internet is because people don't want to feel anymore. They have, in a way, become suppressed to starting to, in a sense, have relations with them like an idolater. And not there aren't very many idolaters out there, and even this is starting to become a thing. And of course, I don't think too many people are going to become idolaters. More people are going to become idolaters, and it's because people don't want saying whatever they want, of course, but some reason because she got really tired of meeting all these. She got really tired of meeting all these guys for sex, and then at least a good portion of sex most of the time. And so that kind of over time complicated things when it came to sex with, all these different guys over time with her. And so she, at some point, saw that she could get a love doll, and she got one. She got I think a synthetics doll is what she got. She said, and she kind of had the time of her life with it. She said that she didn't have to go out and go to the bar or something and have to get laid anymore, at least not nearly as much as she used to, and that it was actually a really good thing for her, and it was kind of working out for her, and she didn't know why so many people were saying such ill things about this kind of stuff. Or maybe she just forgot. I don't know. But she did. That is what she told me. And that, in a sense, is, I would say, one major thing from, interacting social things with a love doll. That's what that taught me. Is that nowadays people have gone to a point where it's like they're just suppressed. And they feel, not everybody, of course, but they're getting to the point where it's just like they just don't want to feel anymore. They don't want to, feel the moment anymore. They don't want to experience it like they used to. And that could also be in part due to the fact that we have, been a bit isolated behind our screens so much nowadays. I do think that's part of it, but I also think it's at least a couple of other things. Like, I think that people, are just also trying to do something that's new because they have gone bored with the old way of doing things, and they're trying something new. And that's, of course, in part with love dolls. And what I did when I was a bit younger is that anyway, I actually did get really tired of the fact that if I wanted sex, the only source of getting that sex sometimes was going to the bar or, some social place and getting some bitch I didn't like and then having sex with them, etc. And I'm just like, this is actually really dumb. Why does this have to be my only option to get laid? And so I kind of did look for other things, of course, and then, of course, that is when I did come across the love dolls at one point on kind of an accident, from searching through stuff on the internet. Good evening. I'm just trying to focus here. But, yeah. Excuse me. Damn. I mean, yeah, just looking back, it's just like, yeah, I mean, why does this have to be our only option? Why do people, what about dating sites? They seem scary to me. I mean, in a sense, actually, they can be a bit scary, to be frank. I mean, just like, even if it's something like people asking me to, let's say, get a love doll off a certain site, and then they come to my, YouTube channel and ask me, hey, is this a legit site? And then most of the time, right off the bat, if it's a site I haven't heard of, I'll just go to it. I'll just look at the site and I'll be like, no, it's not. I've actually was trying online dating at one point, but I never met anybody that I met over the internet. And it's because like I just never got around to it. That, and I mean, from my friends and seeing my friends trying to do that online stuff, for the dating, it's not like it doesn't work, but I've seen a lot of friends that they will meet somebody over the internet, and then like they'll go to the place that they were, promised to meet them, and then like, at first it's like, okay, they're a bit late, but then like they'll like never come. And then they'll get back on the internet and they're like, hey, why didn't you come? And then it's just like, and then they'll make like some excuse, and then next thing you know, they're asking for money, and then it's just like, okay, yeah, like I'm done talking to this lady. Stock and dating sites, I invest in them but don't use them. I own stock in several. That's neat. And like, why do these things have to only be the option? Why does society have to be so controlling when it's like naturally human beings can actually, function just fine? And I sometimes think that, there's the people that run the country, like we just don't have the intelligence to know what we like. And that just doesn't really make any sense, because it's just like, how could I not know that I like women? You know what I mean? And just like, how could I not know that I don't like men? At least in a sexual sense. How could I not know? I mean, it just baffles me sometimes. And just like some other people that I know, it's ridiculous. Is that people are just so fucking controlling over everything. Like, they're just so fucking controlling over everything. In the sense that society just isn't really. I'm too afraid to get into a relationship because of this, or her leaving. It could mess up his life. All this. But yeah, man, that's just. I would say that's pretty much the gist of it. Is that, when people sometimes think, they become shut ins and they think they aren't making a sacrifice. Well, the thing is, you actually